Hello, beautiful people. Today is 30th of August. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. But before that, guys, let's have a look on today's GS folder. So, today we'll take a quote from the writings of the Soren Kierkegaard, one of the most profound existential philosopher. He talks about the freedom of speech. He says, people demand freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought, which they seldom use. So right now, if you will see, the defining subject for the political liberties is the freedom of speech. But before using that speech, we don't want to use our thought. We don't to streamline our thinking in more rationalistic way, into a way which will be bringing more welfare, more happiness into the society. We just want the crude right of speaking. But friends, the result of speech without thought is just the hate mongering, fake news, and all such kind of stuff. And if we see the net effect of thoughtless speech, then it is even more bad than no speech at all. So friends, such a kind of a thought can be utilized in GS paper number 2, where right now questions are being raised that freedom of speech has raised equally bad perils also into the society. Moreover, it can also be utilized into the essay. Now friends, we'll go to the newspaper analysis, and one announcement that all the notes which I take into my video, I provide that into the PDF format on our Telegram channel. You can download it by visiting it. The link for the Telegram channel has been given into the description. So that's it friends, and now let's take the newspaper analysis.
Now friends, let's take a overview of the entire newspaper first. Friends, today being Sunday, there will be no editorial paper for today. Now guys, first news pertains to the GST issue that is going between the center and the state, and today with this particular article we will club the viewpoint of the center as well as the viewpoint of the state. Then guys, this particular article mentions the Unlock 4.0 which has been started. So metro rails will be starting. Students from class 9 to 12, they can seek the teacher advice into the schools. Then the research institutes will be opening up. Then the gatherings into the wedding, funerals have been enhanced. The open theaters can open. However, the cinema hall, swimming pool, etc. will not be functional. So guys, this is all. Don't go too much detail into this particular article because that is not required for our exam. Then moving forward, the city news, not important for our paper. Then guys, here we can see that the railway upgradation has been talked about. So in this particular respect, we'll see the railway modernization. Then guys, moving forward, here we can see the classified page, not important for our exam. Then moving forward, here we can see that the butterflies have been mentioned. So guys, some of the important butterflies and some of important information with respect to the prelims will be seeing here. Then moving forward, the regional news etc. has been mentioned and not important for our exam. Guys, here we can see a CSIR's initiative where they will track the employees' health to make the trends of the health forecast. So guys, a good initiative. Will see this particular thing. Now, here we can see that an impregnable wall for Tibet has been called. So, in this particular respect, we will see the issue of China. Then, guys, moving forward. So, here we can see that the state's point of view with respect to the GST has been mentioned. So, guys, I will club this article with the GST article and we'll see the issues which is happening. Now, this particular article talks about as how the mid-level and low-level corporates are getting impacted by the differential interest rates. So, we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 3. Now guys, today's science and tech page, it is filled entirely with the COVID-19 and all such kind of things. However guys, every day the overwhelmingly new reports, new journals on this particular thing is coming, and till now no substantial breakthrough has happened. So guys, I will advise you to refrain from all these kind of articles because they will not be relevant for your UPSC exam, because the unanimous thing is not there. So please ignore these kind of articles. Then on to the FAQ page, there are good articles. For example, this article talks about the supply chain resilience initiative. So we'll see that particular aspect. Then guys, the universal mail-in postal ballot has been mentioned here. So with that respect, we'll see this particular issue. Then the COVID-19 numbers, not important for our exam. Then guys, this particular article talks about the issue that is going on into the Israel West Asia. However guys, into the past week, the entire issue UAE Israel, UAE Palestine, the Hezbollah etc. we had seen very extensively. Then guys, this particular article talks about the retirement of the Shinzo Abe. On this also, yesterday we had seen this entire issue. Then guys, the sports page, nothing important with respect to the exam has been given. So that's it. And now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail.
Now friends, taking up the first news, it pertains to the GST tussle that is going on between the center and the state government. First of all, this entire issue we had already discussed on to 28th August newspaper discussion. If you have not seen and you don't know anything, you can visit this particular discussion. Now guys, coming to the issue, some new dimensions will be seeing today. However, a brief primer onto the issue. Now guys, the center and the state are in a kind of a tussle. Why? Because the 101 Constitutional Amendment Act, when it was passed, the GST came in force, and because GST will subsume the state level taxes also, by here the center government gave a promise to the state government that the state will get the compensation for all the taxes which they were receiving even before the GST came in force. And not only the taxes will be given, rather every year 14% of compensation will also be given. So this was the promise. Now just 2 days back, things have changed. What has happened? Center had said that there is a shortfall of nearly 3 lakh crore rupees and we will not be able to give the money to the state government. Now guys, one more thing. When the GST came in force, at that point of time also, the matter was raised that what if the revenue collection will be less. So at that point of time, a GST compensation cess, a separate fund was also made. It was said that on certain items such as the luxury cars, tobacco, etc., we will levy an additional cess. We will collect money, and if in any year there is a shortfall into the receipts, from there we will give money to the state, but anyhow we will give the money to the states. Now the center government had said that even if we will include the compensation cess, it can only fill the gap up to 22%. Still 2.35 lakh crore rupees gap is remaining. Now the center government had said that we know we have gave you a promise, but we gave you promise that if into the GST's structure there is problem. Okay, now the center says that the problem is not into the GST's structure, problem is because of an act of God. So this particular crisis has been called as an act of God. They say that because GST's structure, the problem is only to the tune of 97,000 crore rupees, and the part remaining is because of the act of God, which is this pandemic. So now the center had raised their hands. They had said that now states have two options. Either they can raise this 97,000 crore rupees from the Reserve Bank of India, because this is the amount which is actually short because of the GST's design, or they can raise the entire amount of 2,35,000 crore rupees. Now guys, the center government had said that if you will raise only 97,000 crore rupees from the RBI, what will be done? Within 5 years, we will keep on levying the compensation cess, and whatsoever money will be received, from that money we will fulfill this 97,000 crore rupees loan. Second option, if you raise entire 2,35,000 crore rupees from the RBI, we will not be giving the entire money, because this entire money is not our responsibility. So two options have been given. Now guys, first of all, why center is giving such an option? We need to do analysis on this particular thing. Now, into article number 293 of the Constitution, it has been said that the state governments, they need the permission of the center government if they raise any loan or any debt. Now as the states need money, so center government has given their permission to borrow, but still there are certain challenges. Challenge number 1, it is the clause that state government can raise only 3% of their income into the borrowings, and the amount of GST which is due to all to the states, it is much more than that. So even if the center give the permission, they can't raise more than 3% of their income. So there will be the problem. Moreover, if state government will raise the money, then the interest rate that state government will be getting, they will be higher than the interest rate which is there onto the government of India's securities. So it has been said that it will cause problems. Thirdly, it has also been said that why center government doesn't raises the money and give that money to the state government. So center government say that we are also having our own problem. What is the problem of the center government? It has been said that if we will raise will raise the debt, then what happen? The rating of the government securities will go down, because the more the debt, the more the down the rating goes. And because of that particular thing, our obligations, our interest rate will become high, and it will lead to the macroeconomic problems into the long term. So it has been said that the state raise money on their own, but states also don't want to raise the money. So this is the tussle which is going on, and it has been said that it is a kind of breach of fiscal federalism. It is a kind of a fiscal adharma that has been created. So this is a word which is being used into the media right now. So onto this particular thing, the matter has been struck. But anyhow, this pertains to a problem, and a kind of a potential question on such kind of thing has been asked. So guys, this particular year, it is a biggest irritant into the center-state relations. Please keep in mind. So that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now friends, this particular article talks about the infrastructure development onto the railway station that has been now allowed by the government. So in our GS paper number 3, there is a topic of the infrastructure. There we can utilize this particular news article. Now, what has happened? A redevelopment plan for the New Delhi railway station has been carried, and it has been said that it will be converted into a one-stop destination for the retail, commerce and the hospitality business. Now guys, the name of New Delhi is not important. Rather, this entire concept is important, which should be replicated in all the major railway stations of India, so that the entire holistic infrastructural reform of the railways we can carry. So there we will actually utilize it. Now it has been said that the station development, the associated infrastructure into the nearby areas, there will be the development, the hotels, development of hospitality, development of leisure activities, this will be carried. Then the social infrastructure will be made, and this particular entire project will also be integrated with the metro and other modes of transit. So on such a line, the redevelopment project for the railway station has been carried. Now this particular project will be carried by the DBFOT model. It is design, build, finance, operate and transfer. So private sector will design it, will make it, will operate, will fund it, will operate it. And how much time? For nearly 60-year period they can operate, and then they will be transferring it. So guys, this is actually a very good way to develop the public infrastructure, because right now we know that the center government's capacity to finance such a big project is not there. So by involving, we can do this particular thing, and it will be a win-win. Now guys, this particular is a kind of a PPP model on which we are developing, but the history with the PPPs is not good. So there could be a challenge on that particular aspect also, but still this is a design which has been given. Now guys, certain analysis of this particular news item, if we make, then there was a committee which was constituted onto the railway reforms, that is the Sam Pitroda committee. And Sam Pitroda committee, while talking about railway reform, has already raised this point that our infrastructure into the railways is grossly underdeveloped. Moreover, not only underdeveloped, because of this particular thing, there are other structural problems also. It has been said that railways asset utilization is very low. If you see, in all the cities, the prime land or prime location is by the is held by the railways. They are into the center of the city, but still they are not judicially using this particular property. If we talk, then in India, the non-core revenue of the railways, that is the revenue from other activities, it is one of the lowest into the world. And how that non-core revenue will be raised? By developing the infrastructure, by utilizing that infrastructure in other activities also. So now this particular step is into the right direction, as we are now upgrading the infrastructure, which will have the multiplier effects onto the economy, onto the society, onto the connectivity and onto the railway as a whole. So guys, this is a very good thing. Now some more thing about the railways. See, if you are preparing for the railways, there are the three committees which are the most important. Please use them, read them, your entire railway will be completed. One is the Sam Pitroda, which I have told here. Another is the Anil Kakodkar committee. He had majorly talked about the railway safety because there is a problem with respect to the accident, fire incidents, etc. And the third is the Rakesh Mohan committee. He had talked about the modernization as well as structural reforms. He had talked about the corporatization of the railways. He had talked that there should be a separate regulator for the railways. So guys, this is the entire issue with respect to the railways and this particular news. So I hope you have understood it. That's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article pertains majorly to the prelims. Now, in this article, it has been said that this particular year, there is an early movement or an early migration of butterflies from the Eastern Ghat to the Western Ghats. Every year it occurs, but this year it is a little bit early. Now guys, not that much very important. However, names of certain butterflies have been mentioned which could be important for our exam. So what are the names of the butterfly? Blue tiger, dark blue tiger, common crow, and double braided butterflies. Clear? So guys, their names are like such that you can get confused. So these butterflies have been mentioned which are migrating. Now apart from this particular butterfly, one particular tiger reserve has also been mentioned where the observation has been made. Now this particular tiger reserve is into the Western Ghat and it is the Parambikulam Tiger Reserve. This particular it is located into the state of Kerala. So this is the expanse of the tiger reserve. Some more points. It is located adjacent to the Annamalai Tiger Reserve. So Annamalai Tiger Reserve is in Tamil Nadu and Parambikulam Tiger Reserve is in Kerala. So they are located into the adjacent vicinity. Moreover guys, this entire complex, this present Parambikulam Tiger Reserve as well as the Annamalai, they both are under the consideration of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee. They might get a status of the UNESCO World Heritage Site also. So guys, this particular mapping location has been mentioned. Now, as we are talking about the butterflies, some more information about the butterfly. Now guys, in our country, Maharashtra is the first state which has declared their state butterfly. Which one? Blue Mormon. And after Maharashtra, now we have total 5 states which have their own butterflies, and Tamil Nadu is the latest one which had their butterfly. They had declared Tamil Yeoman as their state butterfly. You don't need to remember all the butterflies for all the states until and unless you are preparing for the state specific PCS exam. The first one, the last one, it will suffice. Moreover guys, just a few days back in our newspaper discussion also, we discussed one butterfly which has been given the status of the largest butterfly of India. This is the Himalayan gold birdwing. So how we calculate the size? By the wingspan. So this Himalayan golden birdwing, the female, they have a very big wingspan and they are the largest one. So guys, a large number of information with respect to the butterfly has been given, and there could be a question on such line also, because earlier also the question on butterfly has been asked. So that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article pertains to the CSIR's initiative with respect to the health reforms. Some health initiative they have taken. Now guys, what has happened in our country? Yesterday also we had seen an article that we don't collect enough of data onto the various vital informations. Now CSIR has decided that they will keep a 30-year record of their nearly 10,000 employees. They will track their health vitals, and on that particular information they will try to draw out the probability that how much of them are susceptible to the diseases such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, etc. So they will try to make a pattern of the prevalence of the disease into the Indian population. So this particular initiative they will be doing. Now guys, such kind of initiatives have already been taken into various other parts of country also. For example, there is Vadu Rural Health Program which is going on to the Pune, and the Garbhini program which is going into the Gurugram. Now this Garbhini program is specifically little bit more important because here what happens, the vital stats of the pregnant women are kept. Their dietary patterns, their age, their weight, their height, it is kept in check so that the actual cause of the preterm births, premature deliveries can be ascertained. So guys, in different parts, such agencies are working. Now onto the bigger landscape, if we move beyond the CSIR, such thing could be of much use for our country. See, we have a very big population and we always claim that we will be getting a demographic dividend, that such big population will be translating into the working workforce and will give us the benefits. But the benefits will not come until and unless our demography will be healthy, they will be functional. And for that particular thing, such data becomes important because by seeing that data before the time the health interventions can be made, we can take the steps into that particular direction. So very good initiative taken. And into the health related questions, you can use the reference of the CSIR as well as of the Wadu Rural and the Garbhini program. So guys, that's all about this particular thing. As a reference we'll use, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, this particular article is with respect to the China. So now what has happened? China has made an address specifically onto the Tibet. Now, what is this address first of all? Into this address, the Xi Jinping had very clearly said that Sinicization of Tibetan Buddhism as well as youth is needed to be made. Now, Sinicization, it means the Chinese nationalism that has to be infused. Now guys, as we have certain of the sensitive territories, the China also have sensitive territory and Tibet is particularly such sensitive territory. And in order to have a control over the Tibet, such Sinicization or nationalism into the Tibet is being talked about. Now guys, this particular statement can be seen as an example of the right-wing resurgence which is going into the entire world. Extreme nationalism you can see into the US, you can see into India, you can see, and here in China you can also see. But such kind of trend is not being appreciated into the world countries. Now particularly guys, when we see this particular thing, here it has been said that an impregnable wall will be created in Tibet. Impregnable wall, it means that we will make sure that no external influence comes into Tibet so that they disturb the national harmony of the China. This could be an indirect indication towards India because right now we had seen that a kind of a confrontation onto the LAC was going on. And because India had given the refuge to the Dalai Lama and had very good relations with the Tibetan refugees which are here and in Tibet in general also, so this could be a kind of a tacit indication to India that towards the India that China needs to conserve the Tibet region. So guys, just a one-liner address has been mentioned. However, now this particular thing is also an indicator of one more issue. Now, for China follows a policy that is the Tibetan Palm Policy. Tibetan Palm Policy was given by the Mao Zedong, which says that Tibet is actually the palm of China and it has 5 fingers. The Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh, Sikkim, Bhutan and Nepal. Mao Zedong believed that this entire palm and the 5 fingers, they rightfully belong to China. And now just few days back we had seen confrontation into the LAC. So it was a kind of an at that point of time it was said that already the palm has been taken by the China, that is in 1959 this Tibet was taken, and now China is going after the fingers also, and the first finger is the Ladakh where China has made an intrusion. So into this particular light also the address in Tibet might have certain ramifications towards the Indian side also. So guys, please keep such kind of trends which are going on and you can utilize into your answers in GS paper number 2 IR because such kind of implication based questions have already been asked. So that's it about this particular news. So now we'll move to the next article. Now, this particular news pertains to GS paper number 3, the health of corporate sector in India. Now see, what has happened here? A report has been published where it has been alleged that the financial sector regulation in India is not good in favor of the mid as well as low level corporates. Now guys, before going into this particular news, some background. What happens? The interest rate that is given to any individual, any corporate or anybody is dependent on his or her or its credit worthiness. If the credit worthiness is good, then the lower interest rate will be given. But if credit worthiness is not good, then the higher interest rate will be given. Now, obviously, the low level and mid level corporates, their credit worthiness will not be equivalent to the credit worthiness of the high or the top end corporates. So, therefore, there will be the difference of interest rates between all of them. But what has been happened in India, it has been said that if we see the difference of the interest rate, then it is into the tune of 5 to 6% when the interest rate for the top rated corporates is taken care of. And this particular difference is not viable. Even in US, if we see, then the interest rate for the US government's bond as well as for the corporates, there is also the difference of 0.5 or maximum 1% or 1.5%. But here, the difference of 5 to 6% is going on. Now, why this thing is problematic? This thing will impact the sustainability of the corporates. You should keep in your mind that the chunk of corporate is into the mid or the mid or the lower level only. And such high interest rate, first of all, it creates a kind of a high cost debt trap. What happens? Corporates, in order to pay their obligation for the debt, they take a new loan and for this now new loan, they will take yet another new loan, and such kind of a trap is created, and then they are never able to come out of this trap, and at the end of the day they go bankrupt, and a kind of an implication for the society, for economy, and for the banking as a whole happens. Then this particular thing also reduces the competitiveness of our corporate, because if your debt servicing is high, obviously you need to increase the cost of your products also, and because of this low going competitiveness, our exports also suffer. We can't compete into the cheap products offered by the China and other such countries. And what happens, it even impacts the debt servicing. A vicious cycle is created, as I told you earlier also, and it impacts the NPA. And already our banks are seeing the one of the highest NPAs into the developing as well as the developed world. Now guys, the logic for such a differential is this, that because the credit worthiness is not good, we will charge high interest so that even if they go burst, we have recovered a lot of money. But by this high interest rate, you are yourself creating a kind of a possibility or the conditions that the company will turn uncompetitive and might go bankrupt. So here it has been said that government as well as RBI needs to consider this particular point. And this thing is even more worrying for the infrastructural for the corporates who are involved into the infrastructure sector, because first of all, there is huge gestation period for the infrastructural projects. Anyhow, they have less profitability, then there are kind of environmental clearance, land acquisition clearance, they increase the cost, and this particular thing even increases the misery for them. So on this particular line, a large number of reforms are needed, and anyhow we are seeing that right now the Make in India call is being made, so this is high time that such anomaly should be corrected. So friends, that's it about this particular issue. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article pertains to the supply chain issue or the supply chain bottlenecks which are there going on into the world, and in that aftermath the new initiative that has been given by the Japan. Now guys, first of all, the idea of supply chain resilience has been mentioned into this particular article. What is this supply chain resilience? See, right now we had seen that into the aftermath of this health crisis, various countries have went into the lockdown. And because of such kind of lockdown, the supply chains were broken, they were disturbed. And therefore, because of this supply chain disturbance in A country, country B had also suffered. And such kind of problems had been seen in India, we had seen in Japan, it has been seen in USA, it has been seen. So idea has came that our supply chains, if we are overly reliant on one country, always our supply chains will be susceptible. If there is a natural disaster, our supply chain will be broken. If there is some political disaster, our supply will be broken. So we need to diversify our supply chains, and Japan is now exploring onto this particular idea and had proposed the supply chain resilience initiative. Now under this particular initiative, first of all, Japan is expanding their supply chain base. Earlier they were hugely dependent onto the China. For example, 24% of entire Japan's imports, they were coming from China, and such dependence is very huge. Moreover, when the in February the lockdown was imposed into the China, at that point of time Japan's essential supplies were also disturbed because they were coming from the China, and from there the Japan has got an idea that we need to go for the reliance. Moreover, not only this lockdown of February was important, rather right now a new spree of tensions is going on between the US as well as China, and if these tensions increase up to some bigger extent, then in future also such kind of problem can come. And therefore guys, what has happened, Japan has now, into their fiscal stimulus that they have given to their corporates, they have allocated $2.2 billion specifically so that the corporates of Japan, they move out their manufacturing from China to the other countries. And when these other countries are being talked about, two countries have particularly been identified by Japan, that is the India as well as Australia. First of all, why such a kind of a triangle has been made? Number one reason is that already these three countries are cooperating into the Quad. Is it clear? So original from back also a kind of a attachment is there. Then guys, other countries, for example Australia is also equally fed up with the China. Why? Because first of all, into the South China Sea, whatever China is doing, Australia has not liked that kind of unilateralist attitude. Secondly, just a few days back, China has very vocally said to their students that they should consider visiting to the Australia. Moreover, China, they had banned the imports of barley and beef that was coming from the Australia, and from step by step they had given economic cripples to the Australia. So Australia is also frustrated and it is also looking for some new country where they can diversify. So guys, this is a kind of a triangle is being made, and such initiative, that is a supply chain resilience initiative, is coming out. Now guys, if we talk about India, then what are the specific aspects for India? First of all, Japan is the fourth largest FDI investor in India, and from 2010 to 2020 substantial number of FDIs have came from Japan. Moreover guys, into the last few years the import from the Japan have been doubled, and therefore if the Japan and India relations they prosper onto the next level, we can into the equivalent amount can also divert our exports, which we are aiming to do by enhancing our Make in India, our manufacturing capabilities. Moreover guys, what happens, India, as Australia and Japan need a partner, India also needs a partner, because we had seen onto the LAC confrontation that China will not be a reliable partner into the long term. Moreover, into mean course of years, we had been strategically dependent onto the China. For example, even for the paracetamol tablets, the 100% API is coming from the China. For machinery, capital goods, the critical supply is coming from the China, which is not good into the long term. So therefore, Japan and India can help India into this particular regard. Moreover, guys, if India actually wants to be a responsible partner into this triangle, India needs to take large number of reforms. First of all, India needs to work on to the ease of doing business, so that the investment which are being diverted from China, they can come into India. Now, if you remember, I had here told you that 2.2 billion extra stimulus is being given to the corporates. Now guys, India has competition from the countries such as Malaysia, Thailand and Indonesia, Vietnam. And if competition is to be given, ease of doing business has to be rectified. And not only this, the tax reforms are also needed to be carried. For example, the kind of we need to give the tax concessions, we need to give the tax holidays. Moreover guys, into the direct tax also large number of reforms are needed. And there was a committee, that was the uh, Shom committee, which has suggested the considerable reforms. So onto the Shom committee's line also the reform can be taken. So in order to actually absorb such kind of corrections will be needed into the India. So guys, that's all the issue of the supply chain resilience which is coming. And in order to enhance the manufacturing potentialities of India, this particular thing can be very useful. So that's it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article pertains to the issue of universal mail-in voting that is coming into the US. Now, first of all, some background. What has happened? You might be knowing that in November 2020, elections are due in US. Now, right now, this is also the time when US is seeing a high number of positive cases. So, on one hand, the social distancing has to be observed. On another hand, the voting also needs to be taken care of. So it has been said that the postal ballots should be utilized into the USA. Everybody should post their votes. Already postal ballot is allowed into the US, and it has been said that as now the pandemic is going on, it could be a valid reason that everybody should be given a facility. Now guys, if we talk about certain data from the 2016 last election, then it has been said that the 21% of the entire voters, they already received the postal ballots by virtue of their service, by virtue of their work condition, by virtue of their residence. They by default got the postal ballot. Then 57% of voters were such which didn't get, but if they would have asked for the postal ballot, they would have been given. And remaining 20% 22% voters are those who might get if they give a valid reason. And now it has been said that this 22% can also be given because the pandemic is a valid reason. So what will happen into this postal ballot? A person will be mailed or will be posted a kind of a ballot paper. On that ballot paper, he will cast the person in whose favor he will be voting. He will give his attestation, he will give his sign, and will post back to the authority where he is a voter. So in this particular way, this entire exercise is being suggested to be convened. However guys, there are certain issues which are coming into this particular direction. Moreover, the Donald Trump has been very vocal against this universal mail-in voting system. Why? Number one, in India, under article number 324, we have the election commission, which has been given the entire superintendence, direction and regulation of the elections. But in US, there is no central election commission like authority. So who will actually synchronize this particular exercise? Secondly guys, what happens? The voting norms are also different into the US. There are large number of states which allow the people to vote after seeing a valid ID. There are some states which don't even see the valid ID. They just simply allow to vote. It has been said that there are large number of people into the US who are not the authorized residents to vote. They are living on to the visa, or they are simply they are not entitled to a voting process as a whole. So how we will see that the person who had mailed the postal ballot, he was authorized or not? So there could be forging, there could be malpractices which could be there, and very clearly Trump had even said that this will be the most fraudulent election into the history of US. However guys, moreover, it has also been said that there will be the huge money which will be utilized for this particular exercise. So two kind of views are coming, but anyhow, this there should not be a way to either totally discard this system or to totally go for this particular system. Wherever the high intensity of cases are there, some postal ballot and mix of the physical voting could be adopted. So guys, this is a particular issue with respect to the US which is going on right now. So that's it friends. I hope you have understood this all, and now we'll move to the question section.
Guys, please pause the video and try to answer the question. The first question is with respect to the Energy and Resource Institute. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 2 is with respect to polity. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 3 is with respect to the GST Council. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 4 is with respect to the National Institute of Solar Energy. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. So guys, that's all for today, and as today is Sunday, there will be no mains question for today. So that's it. I hope you are liking our initiative. Thank you so much.